Wild talk. Wild talk. Wild talk. Wild talk.
Hi, everybody. Welcome back to the new episode of Wild Talk with your host, Bulldozer. And today I have my brother from the USA, Daniel Connors. Dan, how are you, bro?
I'm good, man. I'm good. Always a pleasure to say what's up to you, man. How you doing?
Good, good. Living the good life with it. Even
Yeah,
through the pandemics, try to stay positive, work on the projects, do whatever. Try to focus myself on the things that I can control, not
yep.
the things that I can't control. That's the best
Amen.
thing to do. So basically, then people doesn't know you. So in quick words, can you introduce yourself?
Yeah. So, for those who don't know me, I'm Daniel Connors. I met Kevin in France back in, what was that, 2016, 17, something like that.
Yeah,
Um,
even a little bit before. I think it
yeah,
was
yeah,
15. Yeah.
2015. Yeah, 2015.
Mm,
I was playing football out there, and since then I've moved back to California for a while. Now I'm out in Atlanta, Georgia. I work for a software tech company. Our headquarters are out in Silicon Valley, and I do some tech sales for them.
okay. Nice tech sale. Okay. So can
Mhm.
you just talk to us about like how what was your job precisely like? Because there's a lot of tech. I know that in California there was a lot of tech, like
Yeah.
the Silicon Valley and I mean California and Nevada. So basically, can you tell us how this word is working?
Yeah. Specifically, what I sell I'm in a category of technology called IoT. It's the Internet of Things. Essentially, what that is internet connected devices that plug into the cloud. And so that is anything from a cell phone is an IoT device, wireless headphones, IoT device. Anything that is wireless and can connect to the internet is going to be IoT. So what I sell are internet connected devices that get plugged into vehicles, such as construction vehicles, transportation vehicles, buses, you name it. Anything that has four wheels and is moving. As a company owner, you need to be able to know where your vehicles are at, how fast they're going, if they got into an accident. So it helps streamline their operations by understanding where everyone is at in real time.
Okay. And since you talk about that, do you think that people, so your company that you work with, aren't they are not scared like that maybe a type of virus get into it and take control of all of it, like we see just in the movies? Because I guess in the movies, if they talk about it, maybe there's a risk of it. And did your company, like, how did they protect themselves with the programs on what you're working on?
Yeah, you have to go through there's a ton of different regulations and certifications that you have to pass in order to get this product out in the market. Specifically, the SOC2 certification is going to you have to go through and pass different type of tests essentially to prove that your devices can't get hacked and that you have a secure cloud infrastructure. We specifically use Amazon Web Services for our cloud, which is the number one secure uh, cloud platform in
Okay.
the industry. So
Okay, that's
I'm a big sci-fi fan. I think that shit probably will happen eventually, but a couple more years.
let's let's hope not.
I
And I forgot before we start. Happy birthday, brother.
appreciate it,
Happy
man.
birthday. Now, how old are you now? Like 30?
31, man. See these
81?
years?
You, that's not from today. You already have those before.
I got them at like 18, man.
Oh man, that's good. Like, like people said, age is just a number. So
All right.
basically, as long that in your head you feel young, you are young.
I
After
feel
that,
that.
that's just the society just try to you too old. You're starting to get old. Blah blah blah. All this conversation. Now you're
Yeah,
at this age. What are you about to do? Are you planning to have a family? I'm not even 30, but people keep hitting me with those questions.
I know,
Like, they
man.
have a wife? I'm like, no. Like, I would like to have a girlfriend, yeah, but to have a wife, I don't think that I'm ready for that. I thought I was ready at some point, but I wasn't at all. So You
We
know,
won't, we won't go down that road. We won't go down that road right now.
yeah, not yet, not yet, not now.
They say 30s is the new 20s, so you know.
Exactly. There's a friend of mine who say, like you have 20 years of experience and 10 years of living when you get up to 30.
There you
So
go.
basically, that's kind of true. I think like you have 20 years of living, 20 years of experience and 10 years of living. So
Yep.
that's kind of funny. So you were saying that you were living in California before. So that was in San Jose,
Yeah,
which
born and raised.
is student city, right?
What's
Pretty
up?
much a student city.
Yeah, pretty much a student city. You've been out there before to come
Yeah, of
visit.
course.
Yeah, shout out to San Jose Bar and Grill. You
Yeah,
know,
yeah, yeah.
but yeah, it's an interesting town. It's at the real epicenter of Silicon Valley. So you have a lot of tech people living there, but you also have San Jose State, you have Santa Clara University, and you have multiple junior colleges.
Yeah.
So the whole surrounding part of San Jose is about 1 million people. So it's a big community, a lot going on, and like I said, it's just a lot of tech and a lot of students.
Okay, that's true. That's true. A lot of tech
Yeah.
students.
You got
Very a lot of students.
Google, Facebook, Apple, all those headquarters are right there.
Okay, man, that's good. All right. And so in California, earlier this year, there were some wildfires that happened.
Yeah.
And my question about this is, how did the government like manage people to keep going to, if you were still able to go to work or you have to stay home to be safe, how people could move into the city to make their errands or to go just shopping, how did they handle this situation over there?
Yeah, it was really different depending on what area you were in. My dad lives up in the Napa area, and he was forced to be evacuated from his home. The fires got about a mile or so from his house. My stepmom's family, they lost their home. It got burned up in the fire. So it really depended on where you're at. A lot of the areas that were close to the fires had mandatory evacuations. So you literally, you would get a warning and you would have anywhere from 30 minutes, an hour, 2 hours to pack everything you have, pack it into a car and leave. So you're grabbing, your memorabilia, your pictures, your family heirlooms, anything you can grab, and saying, hey, the rest of the stuff is in God's hands. If my house goes up in flames, then sayonara. So
Yeah.
certain areas were really intense. Unfortunately, a lot of people lost their homes. Some people lost their lives. It was a really intense time. I remember coming out during this time, what was kind of compounded to the intensity of it was during this time was the pandemic. And so we were all quarantined in our homes.
Yeah.
And we couldn't go out, yet they were telling us you can't leave your house, but now you have to evacuate to somewhere else. So it was kind of like a perfect storm. I remember coming out of my house at probably like 2 p.m, and it had the most eerie Armageddon-like feeling to the full sky. Yeah. It was almost felt like it was nighttime. It was so dark, and it was just full of smoke. You would go outside, and it felt like the air was hotboxed. And the sun was this eerie orange-looking color. Like you really felt like a bomb just went off or something, or like, it's the end of the world type feeling. Yeah. And I was probably 50 to 100 miles away from the fire. So you can imagine like how widespread this happened. So yeah, it was intense, man. It was super intense. Like I said, different areas had different type of evacuation policies. It really depended on where you're at. But it kind of went to show you that we're kind of at the mercy of some of these severe happenings. Whether it's a hurricane, a fire, anything like that. When you see Mother Nature in its full effect, it can be a scary thing.
Yeah, I bet. I can't even imagine for the firemen that work to try to control this fire, try to to finish it, but. That must be pretty hard. Like I think about you, the civilians, right? But I also think about them because they're the one in the front line, and just that we have to do something because this thing could kill, like could burn, like more than just like a house. It could burn like cities. It could be very worse. That's crazy. That's very crazy.
Yeah.
So you moved to Cali, to Georgia, Atlanta. And you know what's funny is that since I left the Flash and I started to play in GFL, they I meet more people from Georgia, and most of them are from Atlanta. In my head, I was like, for a long time, I was like, man, I need to go to Atlanta at least like one time in my life, because I just like the city and what I heard about it and the culture over there, right? You know, with the trap music, they talk about the strip clubs, you know, stuff like that. The fact that also the black culture over there, you know, black-owned business. What I see on TV, that's just what I see on TV, not what I know, but what I see on TV is that it's a very grown thing over there, right? And I was just curious about it. And now that you moved there, and there's also old teammates of mine who are moving there, that I did the episode with him, actually, is Francis, his name. I was like, man, now that Danny's over there and I have some friends over there, I'm pretty sure now when I go there, I'm gonna link all these people up and we're gonna start to know each other, just like you did with me when I went to Cali, when I met with everybody, all the friends, families as well. And talking about family, just to let you know, for your mother, I still have that rock. Remember, I still have that rock. So what was the change for you? Like, why did you decide to go to Atlanta? What was the difference that you noticed from the state of Georgia and the state of Cali?
Yeah. A lot of things kind of played into it. One, I'm kind of nomadic as it is. I like moving. I enjoy different cultures. I like exploring new cities. You know, I went from California to Missouri for college, to Germany for GFL, to France to play with you guys, back to California. Now I'm in Atlanta. So I like moving. I like exploring. You know, before I have wife and kids, I want to do as much as I can. But yeah, it was just kind of time. I don't know. I had a really good chapter. My chapter after football. I think after football, you kind of hit this interesting point in your life of, shit, what am I supposed to do now? You know, I've done football my whole life. What's next? And thankfully, my oldest brother, who's kind of my mentor, he was doing tech sales, and he's like, man, you're gonna love it. So my chapter right after football was, hey, you know what? This is the next chapter of my life. I really want to save up some money and buy a home. That was kind of my next big goal in life. And so I started that at 26, and 5 years later, thankfully, I can say I just bought my first house. And in California, thank you. In California, it's like you got to shell out like $1 million to buy a house. And you stayed in my little small apartment, man. I'm paying just as much for a 4-bedroom house out here in Georgia as I was for that little apartment in San Jose.
No way.
Same price.
Jeez.
I swear to God. So it's like, California is amazing. I love it. It'll always be my home state. But, you know, it's just the numbers didn't add up. Everything didn't add up. And I was ready for a change. So my brother was begging me to move out to Georgia. With the fires going on, with the pandemic going on, I was like, you know what, it's time. So I just kind of, really, it was kind of like a leap of faith. You know, it's anytime you move across country or to a different country, you know, me being a man of faith, I take it to prayer, and I started praying about it, and I said, you know, God, like, I don't know what to do. If this is the right move, like, let me know. And it felt good in my spirit after I prayed, and literally 2 weeks later, I put in my 30-day notice to my apartment. I told my job I'm moving. I told my family, and I just moved out here.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nice and easy.
Yeah, nice and easy, man. You know, you got to take leaps of faith, and then it's in God's hands after that, you know?
Yeah. I feel you. Then what's funny is like when I hear you talking about California, the fact that, you know, the rent is pretty much expensive, makes me think about Paris. Like, Paris is a very good city. It's very nice. You have a lot of stuff, great, shops, everything, right? But
Yeah,
the price of the houses, sheesh. And I'm talking about Paris, not the suburbs close to Paris, because if you go over there, you're gonna find some houses who are not that expensive and pretty good, right? And bigger than what you can find in Paris at the same price.
yeah, exactly.
And that's really funny. And talking about economics, so can you say that the city of Atlanta is less expensive than Cali in every aspect?
Every I'm
Yeah,
talking gas is half the price, furniture, every single thing is cheaper. You go to the grocery store, you're paying less.
yeah.
It it's crazy. Like I don't know what I've been doing this whole time. Yeah, so I'm enjoying it though.
Oh, you really didn't know, huh?
Seriously.
Oh. So we were talking about the fact that we met each other on the football field.
Yeah.
So now let's talk to us about your football career. So when did you start it, and what was your goal when you started, or the further that you keep playing football? Because I know that a lot of football players, when they start playing about football, they think about NFL.
Yeah.
And there's a very good stat that says that I'm just gonna say a number like that, but basically there are not very a lot of players on the millions of players. I think there's I'm not up what
They
number?
say they say 1% of high school athletes make it to college athletes, and then 1% of college athletes make it to a professional level.
Right, that's the
So,
one. So
yeah.
going with the stats, like how when you started and when you kept playing, how was your mindset during the whole process, even through college, high school, college?
Yeah.
How did it go?
It was an interesting ride. I think I started off playing sports because I have two older brothers, and one is 5 years older, one is 7 years older. And when you're young, you just want to hang out with your brothers and play. And they're playing baseball, basketball, football, so I started playing basketball, football. So that's kind of how I got started into it. And then come around high school time, I realized I was best in football out of the three sports. And at that point in my life, I knew college is so dang expensive in America that I knew, my parents weren't going to pay for it. It was going to be all up to me. So I said, look, I got to get a scholarship or I'm probably not going to college. And so that's kind of how I knew I wanted to get my college degree. I knew football was going to be a means for me to do that. And so that was kind of, although I love the game, obviously, but you look at it more than just a game. This is a means to get a free education. And when university is $40,000 a year or more, it's a big investment. So that was kind of that next shift. Thankfully, I ended up getting a scholarship out to Southwest Baptist, got a full ride out there. And so free education, they're going to pay you to go to school. Shoot, say less. It's a wrap. And then after college, and then, college, you keep, putting your heart and soul into the game. You get this emotional attachment to it. And, you start falling in love with it more and more and more. And, but I'll be honest, kind of like toward my end of my senior year, I almost kind of started getting burnt out. It's just so much football. And I mean, me, like I like a lot of other stuff. I like to, go explore, go do this, go do that. And, when you're a quarterback and you're doing that, it's just football. You're doing 6 a.m. workouts, then you're going to class, then you're doing quarterback film, and then offensive film, and then practice, and then watching film of practice, and then watching film of your opponent. And so it's like from sun up to sundown is football. And after doing that for 20 years, you're like, I kind of want to do some other stuff in my life, right? Mm-hmm. But you still have those hopes and dreams of going to the NFL and doing all that thing. So me and my buddy Jay Do, shout out Jay Do, we did a couple pro days and, took our shot at it and, didn't get some looks that we wanted. And then about a month after all of that, a team in Germany, Cologne Falcons, GFL 1, they hit me up, said, hey, we need a quarterback out here. So I went from trying to pursue the NFL to a month later, let me see what's I didn't even know about European football really. And so I was like, let me see what's going on out there. And I went over there and I fell in love with the game all over again. I really think European football players, I would really say they probably have more of a love for the game, certain players, than people in America. Because America, like I said, it's so much. There's so many other things. You're doing it for education. You're doing it for money. Where really a lot of the guys in Europe are doing it just for the love of the game.
Yeah.
And that's contagious, you know. And so I kind of fell in love with football all over again. I think a lot of it is with your teammates too. I mean, shout out to the whole Flash family. Like
Yeah.
I had so much fun with you guys out there, man. That yeah, it kind of made me fall in love with the game all over again. So it was a lot of ups and downs, as is life, as is football. But ultimately, you know, I wouldn't change any of it, man.
Yeah, and that's great. No, that's funny because every American player pretty much says the imports pretty much say that we didn't know about, you know, football in Europe, right? And every time most of them say like players in Europe are just crazy. Some of them, right? Not everybody, of course, but some of them are just crazy. Like, you know, the top players, pretty much all of them could have a shot at playing at the
Definitely.
at the college level, right? But the thing is just that missing opportunities. And that's the thing that I like about football today now in Europe is that we have more and more, you know, imports, coaches and players who now want to stay in Europe and try to bring the talent of Europe over there overseas. And that's a great thing. But the only thing that I always say is that players need to stop worrying about if I'm going to make it if I go over there. Like American players, the only difference is just that we pretty much don't have the same goals, right? Just like you said, because some players are just fighting to have an education. Some players are just fighting to have a better life because some of them are, you know, they come from neighborhoods who's very tough, right? Tougher than here, actually, and that's reality.
Yeah.
And they need to stop worrying about that because at the end of the day, they're still human. But now it's just depending on you, like how you're gonna fight through it, how you're gonna fight to go to get to that goal. Like if you still have the positive mindset, you know, to get better and, you know, be better, to be the player that you want to be, I think I'm pretty sure that it's gonna go your way, but now you're just gonna have to seize the opportunity, right? As soon as you have this opportunity, you have to seize it. And if you don't, well, you're gonna get stuck like where you are. That's just the fact. That's pretty much what people need to understand, and that's like pretty much the same thing for everything in life, honestly.
Yeah, exactly.
And so Europe career, Lo. So when you came, we're gonna talk about France real quick. So when you came to the Flash, what was your first stop after the first practice or the first time that you arrived at La Courneuve? What was your first stop? Because I'm pretty sure you think, you know, they told you that you're gonna come in Paris, so maybe you have a thought in your mind. But when you arrived at La Courneuve, so how was it?
Yeah, so I you know, shout out to Bruno for giving me the opportunity to go out there and step off and I get to meet Will McHale. Shout out Will McHale, my boy right there. He so we start off, me and Will, we show up to the practice field and we're like, I thought we were playing for a team in Paris. This is up. Like, hold on. This is the hood, boy. Hold on. Wait a second. And but yeah, we go out there and we meet all you guys. And then I think you remember that story. I think who was it? I think it was Maxime.
Yeah.
Maxime had told me, hey, if you go out, you guys are going out tonight, go up to a girl and like, do you know any French? I said, no, man, I don't know any French. He said, go up to a girl and say, bouffe ma couille. I said, and I was like, wait, say that again. Hold on. I'm like writing it down. Like, how do you say that? I'm thinking he's giving me a pickup line. Like, he said, go up to a girl, say bouffe ma couille. I said, all right. Me and Will go out that night. We have a couple drinks. I went up, walked to the girl. Oh, hey, enchanté, je m'appelle Danielle, bouffe mon cuit. She looked at me dead in my eyes and said, "What?" Da, 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 da. Went off on me on French. Almost tried to smack me. I was like, "What did I say?" I come to practice the next day. I said, "Bro, you told me to tell a girl to eat my nuts. Are you serious, bro?" The whole team starts dying laughing. I said, "Okay, I see how it is." That was funny
Pretty
though.
much how we welcome every import. Like,
Bouffe mon
you know,
cuit.
teach them about word that don't know about it, and just go make your own experience. And sometimes, honestly, it could work because I know for some guys, it did work. Like the girl was just like, "Are you serious?" And
Yeah.
you start laughing, and after that, you could start a conversation. But that's that's way too funny. So I remember first year you played as a quarterback
Yep.
with Will, and that's true. And big shout out to Will because he was an amazing linebacker and he was very smart. Like his football IQ was amazing, like for real. And it was also, from the background of his family, right?
Yeah.
I was happy to see that he could get along with everybody in a different area from where he's from.
Yeah.
And that's why I think that everybody loved you guys, even you, right?
Yeah.
That's why everybody loved you guys because you embraced the culture of the Flash, of La Courneuve as well, and that was great. As soon when you get to a new team, the only thing that you need to know is just show that you want to play, show that you're gonna go hard on the field. That's the
Yeah.
only thing that will matter because we don't care from where you came from, right?
Yeah.
If you do things the right way, that's gonna be just a great chemistry for everybody. So that would be amazing. And second year, you decide to come back as a coach. So
Yeah.
what I never understood why you decided to came. I never knew actually. Not that I didn't understood because I never asked, but I never knew why you decided to come back as a coach and not as a player because
So yeah, it was actually a somewhat of a um, like mix-up type thing. Was supposed to come back as a player,
okay,
and so Bruno said he was going to bring me back to again all the crazy European stuff. That was the first year that Flash was going back into the Big Six,
yeah,
and he said we want you to come out. We can have one more American player play on the field during Big Six games. So we want you to come out here, be quarterback coach, not OC, be quarterback coach to
yeah,
help Paul and all the other, we had Rico, we had Moose.
yeah,
He's like, we want you to like help coach up these younger quarterbacks, and then you get to play in all the Big Six games. And I said, oh, great, perfect. And then I get out there, and then he's like, one thing happened. You remember that whole season? It was a rough season.
yeah.
Um, but we go out there, and then ended up being I was pass game coordinator. Booba was going to be run game coordinator, and then I took over the whole offense by
Yeah.
the end of the season. So, it was a little bit of a misunderstanding, I think. But as is life, you go with the punches, try to make the best out of it. And yeah, man, I mean, we still should have been winning it that year if it wasn't for that bullshit ass call with the Mullis and that whole thing. I'm not even gonna anyway. But again, man, I mean, like at that point in my life, like I said, I still loved football. It was still amazing to me, but I got so many like amazing friends out of it the first year.
Yeah.
If they came over and said, "Would you be ball boy and we're gonna pay you and you get to live in France?" I would have been like, "Bet." Like,
That's crazy to
like,
say, but that's a
I,
good thing though.
yeah, I loved it, man. So it was a great opportunity. Again, I got a chance to go out there and spend some more time out there, and at that point in my life, I wanted to become an OC.
Yeah.
I wanted to be a quarterback coach in college or something. So I was like, oh, this will be a good foot in the door. This will give me some good experience.
Hmm.
So it was kind of it was a good learning experience.
Yeah.
Trial by fire, for sure.
True. So basically, when did you know that you were done with football? Like at what point after
Yeah.
that you said that, yeah, I think I did whatever I need to do. Now I'm done with football.
Yeah. Um, it's funny. Like I think I had a Euro players account, and still got hit up by a bunch of teams offering me after that and wanted me to come back. And in between seasons, that was a tough thing about going over there, is you're in Europe for 8 months out of the year, and then you come back for 4 months, and you have this weird in between time where you really can't get a full-time job,
Yeah.
and you like can't like get an apartment because you need to sign a year lease on an apartment. And so you're like, what do I do for these 4 months?
Mm.
And so I was staying on my brother's couch in between every football season, in between Germany, in between France, in between France for those three years or so. And then after I came back from France the last time, I'm staying on my brother's couch and I'm trying to figure out my next move. I started coaching a little bit. I started personal training, and I started getting these offers from teams in Europe. And I told my brother, and I'm like, hey, like, I think I'm going to go back again.
Mm.
And he kind of like sits me down and he goes, how long are you going to be doing this? And I was like, what do you mean? He's like, I know you're having the time of your life and it's so much fun and this whole thing, but you've traveled through all of Europe. You've done what you wanted to do, which was play football overseas. Now, when are you going to get a real job? And he goes, I just take it from my experience. He's 7 years older than me. He was like, you don't want to be 30 and just trying to start your career. He was like, it's going to be really tough. And so I had a tough decision to make, was either go back overseas and go do this whole thing again, or I start in the corporate world,
Mm-hmm.
So I sold out, man, and I joined the corporate world,
Yeah. Just like, okay, I'm just gonna go with it.
Yeah, all right.
Yeah.
But yeah, you get to a point, you make enough money playing overseas to get by, but you don't get enough money to buy a house. You don't get enough money to do
True. That's
more
true.
than that. And I was ready for kind of that next chapter in life. So, I love looking at life like a book, and you have different chapters in the book.
Yeah.
And I had a chapter in Germany, I had a great chapter in France, and believe me, those pages have some good stories in them. But it was ready for the next chapter.
Yeah, that's a fact. And so when you get into the corporate world, did you try? Was that a job that you actually liked, or you kind of liked it with the time while working in it?
So in tech sales, you pretty much you start at the bottom of the barrel and you work your way up.
Yeah.
So my first job in tech sales after all that it's called a SDR, a sales development rep. And essentially you're cold calling people, about 50 to 100 calls today, just calling businesses trying to sell software.
Yeah.
And out of those 100 calls, you get hung up on probably 95 times. And so it's like literally the worst job ever. You're just calling, like, like telemarketers, you answer the phone, some random person trying to sell you something, and you're like, shut the beep. So that's what I was doing for like my first 6 months.
Yeah.
And, yeah, so it was shitty, but I knew I had to pay my dues just like anything, you got to pay your dues to work your way up. So I just kind of said, all right, this is what I got to do. And thankfully it was just for 6 months, and then I got a promotion and it got much better.
Okay. And that's great. So could you say that football the football mentality kind of helped you through this process?
Oh, definitely. Yeah. I relate everything pretty much in life. I relate back to football. Football teaches you so many life lessons that translate into the real world.
Yeah.
Specifically in sales, because sales is a tough job. And you lose a lot, like I think the average tech sales guy is like winning 30-40% of his deals. That means you're losing 60 to 70% of the time.
Yeah.
But it's like the same thing in baseball. The best batters are batting like a 300% batting average. So that means you're getting out 7 out of 10 times. So to be able to have that wherewithal, that mental toughness to say, It's all good. I got hung up on. I'm calling again. The next one's going to be a touchdown. It's all good. I got hung up on. Next one's going to be.
Yeah.
I just threw 3 interceptions in a row. It's all good. The next one's going to be touchdown. So,
Mm.
yeah, so much of it is just giving you that mental fortitude to push through, push through, push through.
Yeah.
Get hit in the
That's what I'm
face.
trying to keep saying. People, sports, especially football, are life lessons. Like a lot of them, how to work with people who are very different than you, who doesn't come from the same background as you,
Yeah.
who come from different culture and everything. But I guess that's something. Maybe that's ridiculous to say, but I guess that's something that you can only know when you're in it, or you notice someone that's in it and you see the change through his life. Like, how did he go when he started, and how did he went through everything, that happened to him. So yeah, I mean, that's a good thing. That's a good thing.
It's funny on a lot of like a really common job interview question is, okay, so tell me about a time that you've faced a difficult situation at work, and how have you come together with your other coworkers to, get through that obstacle and get the job done. And so as I was applying for all these different jobs, going through all these interviews, and I only have football experience and no work experience, I'm like, okay, well, my last job was in France at a football team. So let's see, we were down by 6 points. We had to bring the huddle in. We had to tell everybody what to do. We drove down the field. We scored, everything can relate back to football. Sometime you face some adversity. You've had to come together as a team to get the job done.
Exactly. And sometimes you learn that it's not gonna happen the way you want, but that doesn't mean that it's a failure. It's just a lesson that
Yeah.
you learn from it, and after you go on to the next one, like everybody say.
Short memory.
And so now, talking about we're gonna talk a little bit about the USA presidential campaign, because I think what's funny is that every time that you guys have your campaign, I feel like the words is just stop and just waiting to see how it's gonna go.
Yeah.
So the big thing about this year is that you had the counting votes, right? The counting ballots, if I'm not mistaken.
Yep.
So you, as an American so first off, did you voted or you decided maybe not to vote?
I just moved out to Georgia when the election happened, and I wasn't registered in Georgia, so I did not vote. I know everyone who's listening to this is going to be mad at me, but
You sure? Yeah.
yeah,
It's your choice, bro. I mean, I'm just saying. Some stuff happens, so you
yeah, I
can't
know.
vote, so that's not your fault.
but yeah, it was a crazy. It still is. It's still going on. It's been a crazy couple weeks. Yeah, I don't even know where to begin with it, man. What do you want to know?
This shit is so crazy.
It,
So basically, how was the climate over there? Like, how was the climate during that time? Because you have Trump, who was having some accusation about the thing of are rigged, like the vote are not good, they're rigged. And you have the police brutality, who was always there, but they just keep popping. Like, that's not new, but they keep popping. So you have that, the police brutality, and you have also the urge of a change. Like, basically, people was like, I mean, we had that guy for president that didn't work that well, but now we need a change, like a real change. No, not just a change to have hope or something, but we need to have you guys needed to have a change, or a significant one. So basically, how was the climate with all this stuff? Because for me, it feels just like a bomb. Like a bomb is just ready to explode, but either in a good way, to destroy something that wasn't good, or either in a good way, so to destroy something to destroy something that wasn't good, but maybe to go back to that thing, or to destroy it so we could have something better in the future. So how was like the climate with all of this?
Yeah, I mean, it was intense. What's interesting is this is I mean, it's happened before, but I think in my lifetime, this is probably the most divided I've seen the country uh, over a presidential election. And I think that is the case because Trump is so extreme. He's an extreme guy, and when you have an extreme candidate, there's going to be extreme opinions about that candidate. So I think that's a natural cause and effect. Um, what's interesting, for me, like, the election is over, like Biden won, but if you turn on the news, yeah, Trump is still trying to fight it. It's rigged, it's this, it's that. For me, as a citizen, I'm like, man, it's a wrap. Just give it up, like, um, just stop. It's like it's ugly right now. I haven't turned on the news since the election because honestly, it's I think toxic to your mental health. It's like just stay out of it. We have so much information on our cell phones that if anything crazy is happening, you'll know about it. But in terms of like just watching the news day in and day out, I think you'll go crazy. It's just constant. If you watch one news station, it's this, the other news station is that. And it's just like, it's furthering the divide the more you watch the TV. You're going to have a stronger opinion this way. I'm going to have a stronger opinion this, whatever it is. It's the more you feed into it, the further the divide's going to go.
Yeah.
I think I kind of have a different approach. A lot of people think, it's all because of Trump, all this terrible things. I actually don't think that. I think all of this stuff has been going on. I think cops have been shooting people. I think there's been racism. I think there's been all of this stuff. And I think Trump's an easy target because again, he says all this dumbass stuff. It's easy to point at him and say he's the reason. I think we as Americans, we're the solution. I don't think it's going to be Joe Biden. I don't think it's going to be Donald Trump. I think it's us. It's like collectively as a people, like we don't live in a kingdom with a king telling us everything and this and that. It's like we have the free choice to be good to people. We have the free choice to, do whatever we want pretty much in America. And so I think when the country turns to shit, don't look at someone else. Look at you, look at your neighbor, look at the person across the street from you, look at your family. Like you have the power to change so much stuff. So I think Trump is an easy scapegoat. I think really this has just brought light to a lot of the problems that we have in America.
Yeah. And that's crazy. The funny thing that you said about, the news and the fact that you never saw people so divided since a long time.
Yeah.
I think also the news nourish those things because like you said, this channel have this opinion, the other channel have this opinion, and the other one and the other one. And you also have the news on the internet, which people need to be careful with it as well because there's so much information that now you don't even know what's true or what's not. But the thing is that some crazy stuff also are very true. So now when you see crazy stuff happen, you're like, man, like this stuff could happen. So which means that pretty much anything can happen, right? And that's the thing also that you said that people need to be aware of that, or not to be woke. I don't really like that word, but just need to be aware that you have to know that news are good, but don't get your opinion on all the news that you get in. Like try to have your own opinion, try to observe what is happening around you or anything, like you said. And that's also true that if we need a change, that comes to us, to you as a person, right? Like, a lot of my friends lately told me that, not lately, but a little bit before, they're basically telling me that you cannot change the world, but you could at least change the world around yourself. Like that doesn't mean that we're talking about all the people surrounding you, but the closest people to you by having sometimes some conversation about whatever, racism, politics, feminism,
Yeah.
transgender people, whatever. If you need to speak something out that concern you and you want to see a change, start with your family, start with your friend, start with your co-workers, and after that, maybe I'm not gonna say there's gonna be a domino effect, but it could happen maybe, but just in the close circle close to you. Because if your close circle is you really open-minded to talk about some stuff, you're gonna feel better. Like even the stuff around you will not surround you like it is today. Because some people are just having not trauma, but they're having burnouts of the news because they're just like they don't understand why this stuff happening. But like you said, those stuff were there before. Like these stuff are not new. Like this stuff already there before. And just like I saw that was, I don't know if who was that who said that, but I think that was Will Smith or someone else. That everything that we see right now is not new, it's just filmed. So basically it's just exposed. Like I think I could say that is better. Exposed is a better word. Everything is exposed. Like just like you said, a guy like Donald Trump, I think back in the days wouldn't do that, because Donald Trump, the thing is that I don't like him anyway. But the thing is with him is that he said what is in his mind. Like he doesn't keep he just like I'm going full ride on everybody. I don't care. Like all the stuff that he said before, I'm not gonna mention it, but that's just crazy. And that's exposed now because of all the things that are happening. So yeah, I could feel that you have a good, good mindset, a positive one, like, get away from the news a little bit as well. Because just like you, I mean, in France it's pretty much the same thing, right? You have some stuff happening. I know people who didn't have the same opinion, right? But personally, I never felt people being so divided on many opinions, right? So that's crazy. That's fine. That's crazy. But the only thing that, like I said at the beginning of the episode, focus on the things that you could control, not the things that you can't control.
Yeah,
that's important. So Biden won. Kamala Harris is his vice president, the first Black woman as well. So I'm mentioning Kamala Harris because she was the governor of the state of California, right? Yeah. And I know that in the state of California, the weed became legal. And so basically, when did it become legal, and what was the rules or restriction for the use of it?
Yeah, I think it's been legal for medicinal uses for probably, I don't know, about 10 years or so, maybe longer. But recreationally, it became legal, I think, 2 years ago. So recreational means as long as you're over 21, you go in with your ID and you can buy it just like you're buying a beer.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, now that it's legal, because of previous laws, a lot of people who were caught with weed are in jail, still dealing with the consequences of something that's legal now. So yeah, it's unfortunate. It's a shitty situation. I believe Kamala Harris was involved in a lot of those pretty intense drug reform policies to lock up a ton of people. And yeah, hopefully, I don't know what's going to go on, but hopefully a lot of those people who are serving time in jail now will be released coming soon. I don't know. I know she took a pretty tough stand on it while she was governor, or whatever she was. But yeah, it's great. I mean, out here in Georgia, weed's still illegal. So that's definitely
legal in Georgia?
It's illegal still, yeah.
That must be a real change. The funny thing is that I made a quick research on that subject, and I saw that basically Kamala Harris was she was now about to focus. I mean, they would try to focus on the fact that they need to free the people who got in jail now that there's a big growth of the weed businesses, right?
Yeah.
And there's a number that was crazy, and the number was that, so recently released FBI data shows that there were 1,005,058,862 drug-related arrests in the U.S. last year, and about a third of which were from marijuana. That's crazy. Like that's crazy to see that a third of a million are convict for marijuana. And now that you see that a lot of businesses are keep growing,
Yeah.
are becoming legal. So basically, there is no point. Depends the state again, I guess, because I know some states is still legal, but the state who are legal, that's kind of crazy that you still keep those people in jail. And
yeah.
Also, the good thing is that you have people and celebrities coming out basically saying, even athletes. Now, recently, cheers. Well, I only got my water. So cheers. And basically, that's, there are some athletes, I was saying athletes, just like Calvin Johnson. I never knew that he was a weed user. He was smoking weed, right? You also have Matt Barnes, Stephen Jackson. You have Al Arrington, who have a big business now. Gary Payton, and I think there was Kemp, who is opening one in Seattle.
Yep.
So that's good that you have celebrities, athletes who are going forward about the subject, because they are basically talking about the good that the weed make to some people, but in the scientific way, not just like, oh yeah, I smoke weed and I just feel good. No, they have facts, because the only thing that you could fight those things is just that with facts. That's what people like. That's something that a lot of people like facts. Give me some numbers. Like, what did you base yourself to say that? Come forward with it. And I think that's good that a country like America is having this type of conversation, because it's not just over there, but it's pretty much everywhere around the world. You travel a lot. You saw people maybe that use of it, right? So that's the good thing. That's kind of a good thing. And after, still, people, be careful with drugs. That's not don't play with it, because that's a medical way as well, the use of it.
What's interesting is, I think the good thing about legalizing it is, different strains really have different effects. You got some things like white buffalo. You got, you got some other stuff, and you got some indica, sativas, whatever it is. They really do have different effects. And when you're getting it illegally, you're getting it from your homie down the street, and you have no idea they might tell you it's something, but you really don't know what strain it is. So the nice thing about legalizing it is that you can go to the store, the strain is verified, and so you can know the exact side effects. Some make you happy, some make you sleepy, some give you the munchies, some are pain relievers, whatever it may be. Now that it's legalized, you can really get the effects that you're looking for, and therefore take away a lot of the stuff that's going to be sprayed with pesticides or make you feel bad or whatever that may be. The craziest part is, I don't know if you know what's going on in Oregon right now, but they decriminalized all drugs.
Oh, what? All drugs?
All drugs.
Even
heroin, crack. They have a legal crack store. A legal crack store in Oregon.
But why did they do that, though? Why?
Well, and so that's going to be the interesting thing. It's kind of like, I feel like Oregon's going to be kind of this like test state to see what happens. They decriminalized all of it, so you can't get arrested for it. I don't know all the legality to it, but check it out. Yeah, Oregon decriminalized all drugs, heroin, crack, meth. You want it, you can get it.
Wow, what was the point of that? Like, what's the point of that? I understand, because we need to get this straight. For me, weed is not a strong drug. Like,
no.
It's a drug. It is a drug, but it's not as strong as crack, cocaine, heroin. that's not the case. So wait, you froze. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I think I lost you.
Oh yeah, okay. So what I was saying is that weed is not a strong drug. Like basically that's still drugs, but that's not as strong as crack,
Yeah.
heroin, ecstasy, cocaine, name it.
Yeah,
And
you never hear about someone smoking a ton of weed and then going to beat up his wife. If anything, he's gonna be asleep on the couch. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
the thing that I don't know, that's crazy. Even for me, in my opinion, sometimes I think that alcohol is more dangerous than weed.
Oh, for sure, 100% it is.
Like
Yep.
that's
People are mean drunks, man. Or you get into a fight, or you do something stupid, or yeah, you black out. You don't black out off weed. You fall asleep. You know,
you
you
just
you eat all the snacks in
sleep.
the fridge.
Have the munchies. Oh my god. Oh, that's crazy. So now let's talk about a little bit of Thanksgiving.
Yeah,
Me, myself, as a European guy,
yeah,
the first time. So before I talk about what is Thanksgiving, from what I learned,
yeah.
for me as a French guy, Thanksgiving when I was a kid was just an amazing like holiday.
Do you guys have Thanksgiving?
There, no, we don't have it, but I just saw it on TV, like since I like a lot of American show, right? So they
Yeah.
always have an episode about Thanksgiving. So myself, I was like, man, Thanksgiving looks good, right? So you be thankful for the people that you have, you are with your families. Basically, it's just like a pre-game for Christmas for me, from the way I see it.
Yeah.
And what's funny is that when I got older, one time I was on Facebook. I was just scrolling to the screen, and I saw a video that a person just like shared, and I clicked on it, and it was talking about Thanksgiving, the story behind Thanksgiving. So before I go ahead of that, so basically Thanksgiving is celebrated on the fourth Thursday of November, right?
Yep.
Okay, and so from the research that I did, started in 1620, after that a native tribe named, sorry for the name because it's not gonna be pronounced well. The Wampanoags, I think that was their name. They helped the founding fathers to heal fish, show them how to work the land, everything, and to thank them, they offered them a dinner. So basically, they were saying that was the first dinner of Thanksgiving. It was unofficial, I guess we could say that.
Yeah.
But the thing is that for you as a kid, when you were at school, did you learn from Thanksgiving at school, or you learn it first from your family?
Yeah, but your family, pretty much all you know when you're a kid is that you just eat a bunch of food, and then you go to school, and at school is when they teach you about the Pilgrims and the Indians, and you do little art craft projects, and they tell you this whole happy story of everyone's happy, and Indians and Pilgrims ate together, and blah blah blah.
And so, how did you learn about the rest of the history? Like, did you learn it by yourself, or because from what you're saying at school?
Yeah.
Wait, it's frozen.
One of my high school history teachers who actually told me.
Can you go back to the beginning because you froze again? Yeah. Can you restart from the?
Can you hear me all right?
After the question.
Yeah.
What the?
Yeah, let me think my internet.
Yeah, your internet is.
It was crazy. To come out to Georgia, I just did a cross-country road trip. And so I drove through Arizona, New Mexico, all those middle of nowhere states. And as you're driving through, you drive through a couple Native American reservations.
Yeah.
And it's like driving through a third world country.
Wow.
The poverty is just unreal. And it's so sad is like, it's so what we did when we wiped out all of their culture, we killed, so many of them. And then we gave them some little trick like, oh, but we'll give you some land that you can live on. And then we gave them like the shittiest land in America in the middle of nowhere, New Mexico, with no way to support themselves. And So yeah, so starting from Thanksgiving on, it's like we've treated Native Americans terribly.
Yeah. So basically, for you, I know when I talk about this, people need to understand. I don't say that's your fault because that's not. That's the people who back
Yeah.
in way back in the days that did that. But the thing is, like for you as a, because I know that you're good. I mean, you're a man with a faith, with a big heart and everything. From you seeing that and learning as well this thing,
Yeah.
how do you feel? How do you think that they're feeling that people keep celebrating Thanksgiving, even knowing the facts of history?
Probably terrible, man. The same thing with like the Washington Redskins, why they changed their name to the Washington football team.
Yeah.
Like I think there's a constant cry from those people of trying to get redemption for how poorly they've been treated for hundreds of years. I mean, this was their land. The settlers came here and took everything from them. So yeah, unfortunately, yeah, I mean, it's like I said, it's one of those things where it's like you can't really go back and change it, but moving forward, you can be aware. You can have those conversations. You can teach your kids the real story, and hopefully things can change and get better over time.
Yeah. That's that. I think that's the thing that's important. Like basically, I think that's pretty much the things that people nowadays try to do. Basically, you have certain person of history, they're being celebrated, but we never say the whole story. Like the people don't say that we need to stop talking about them, but talk about them, but in all the aspects on their history. Because just saying the half of it, just trying to keep the good because you think that brings shame to your country, that, and I don't only speak for the US, right, but to anywhere that you can have a certain person of history who did something really bad. That's just acknowledge it. If you acknowledge the mistake from the past, that doesn't mean that you are in the wrong. That just means that you are in the good and you just try to move forward and make things better in the future so we don't repeat the history itself. And that's the thing that people don't understand, I think.
I think we're getting better. Changed the Washington Redskins name. I know when I was a kid growing up, we used to have Christopher Columbus Day.
Yeah.
And then more news and stuff about the truth about what he did came out, and he actually used to rape and pillage all these Native Americans. So we changed Christopher Columbus Day to Indigenous People Day.
Okay.
I mean, again, I'm more positive than most, but I think we're slowly getting better. Step by step. The first step is just having the truth come out and stop retelling lie after lie after lie. And I think a lot of educational systems, they say, the winners of wars write history.
That's true.
And it's not the actual truth of what happened, but those are the ones who write it. And so I think by just doing your own research, that's one of the greatest gifts our generation has, is the internet. There's no excuse for not taking the time to do your own research. It's like the information's out there. You should be doing a lot of your own research projects trying to figure out the truth of what's really real.
But we all know that people doesn't want to do that. They rather watch ashes and like ashes on Instagram.
Yeah.
Some stupid stuff on it. That's funny because that's really true actually. Like people know that they could learn from they could learn the truth of history on internet.
Yeah.
But they just don't want to because, and I respect that. I mean, if you don't want to, I get it, right? You're in control of your life. You decide to do whatever you want to do, but like you cannot say, "Oh, I didn't know that. My bad." No, you could know that. You know it, but you just didn't want to learn from it or to learn the truth of it or try to dig a little bit deeper on that subject. So that's very funny.
That's what I always say. Like the difference between, like, people say, like, what is intelligence? Like, what's an intelligent person? For me, the description of an intelligent person is someone who seeks the truth, right? Like, it's just a constant, you want to learn. Those are intelligent people, in my opinion, people who want to learn. The other people who just know a bunch of facts, you might be knowledgeable. You know, you're knowledgeable, but like people who truly want to learn, those are going to be intelligent people, because there's so much to learn. Like, there's so much to learn out there, man. Like, every day for the rest of our life, we should be learning something new. You know?
True. And before I go, I come up with the last question. Speaking about learning, I know that you are not 100% American, because, I mean, of course, for me, like we said, the true Americans for me are the Native Americans, right? So when did you want to learn about your ancestors, like where your family came from and everything?
Yeah. 2 points about that. One, I started pretty early because my mom's mom is adopted.
Okay.
And so that's 25% of me that I didn't know what I was. I didn't know what 25% of me was, because she was adopted out in Oakland when she was like 4 or 5. And so I was always curious about what that was. So a couple of years ago for Christmas, I got her Ancestry DNA as a Christmas gift, so she could finally find out like what she was.
Yeah.
And like most people, she's a mutt mixed with everything. She was a little this, a little that, a little this. But yeah, I was always curious about it. I think it's really interesting. Another thing that I thought was really interesting was regarding ancestry, ethnicity, origins. One black guy said to another black guy, like, d'où viens-tu? And you would say, you know, like Senegal or some country in Africa. And I was like, that's so crazy. Like that nuance kind of clicked in my head. Like, you know, when you're black in America, like, no one says that. You don't go up to the next homie and you're like, hey, like, what's your origins? You know, like.
Just real quick, that's really funny, because every time that I went to San Jose, when I met someone new, I was like, hey, where do you come from? And they were like, oh yeah, I'm from downtown, down the street. You know, I was like, what? No, I'm talking about this. Like, I'm talking about your origins. Like, and one time, the first time that I asked this question, this person looked at me and was like, what are you talking about? I'm American. I was like, okay, I'm gonna stop over there.
Well, that's the crazy thing that I kind of realized in France. So it was just like, damn, like, no one in America, like, we're all immigrants from all over, and everyone bred together. So like, we're all like these mutts in America, a little bit of this, a little bit of that. And so no one like fully knows where. That's the cool thing about like France and a lot of the European countries, is like, you can trace your ancestry like generation to generation. You know exactly where you came from. And I thought that was a really cool part that I learned out there.
And knowing that, I know you come from a family very open-minded, you know, you talk a lot about all of the subject and everything. And knowing that, did it open your mind even further than this, or absolutely not? Or just remain normal, just knowing that?
Knowing what?
Knowing that where you come from, know where your ancestor is coming from, like knowing that you change something in your mind.
I think it gave me the curiosity to learn more. I found out that I was 20% Croatian. And so my second year when I was in France, I took a trip to Croatia to go see like
how it is.
My motherland. I think I'm losing you. Yeah, exactly. So so it's like, I just want to learn more and learn more and learn more, and kind of just understand. I think it's cool to know more about yourself. Who am I? Who is my great grandpa?
That's a good thing to know, because there's a phrase we always say that you have to know where you come from to know where you're going. Like, before you go forward, you need to understand where you're coming from, because at some point, maybe in your life, maybe you're gonna have some kids, and I'm gonna ask you, where do I come from? Where are our origins, right? I know for Black people, even people from from South America, stuff like that. I think is more not obvious, but this question maybe pops a lot because of the problem that could faced in the society.
Yeah.
But I think for everybody, it's just good just for yourself. No, not for the people around you, but just for yourself, knowing where I'm coming from. Why do we have this, this celebration in our culture? Why do we do this? Why do we do that? Where this food come from? Like, where can I get this? Like the taste, how to learn how to cook it, what the language that we speak, stuff like this. I think that's pretty good because it's just, learning from yourself is satisfying, and you can go even more forward, like just like I said, because you know where you come from. So you just know that what maybe you could face later or somewhere else. I just think it's a good thing.
That's good.
So last question, and that's pretty much like a game. All right. Name me 5 athletes or coaches, dead or alive, that you could have dinner with, and why.
5 athletes or coaches, dead or alive, that I'd like to.
Yeah. You do first, and I do mine second.
I've always, since I've been a kid, just loved Michael Jordan. And I've heard he's, kind of an asshole, to be honest, and all that. But yeah, I think that would probably be just selfish desire just to meet Jordan, kick it with him. I think that's like a childhood dream.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that one's number 1.
Mm-hmm.
Number 2, I think it'd be really interesting to meet with someone like Jackie Robinson or someone who had to go through so much just to play a game. No one really can compare to that anymore today. But someone like that who's like so groundbreaking for the time, to face all that, I think that would be really cool, just to get into his mind and understand what that was like. Probably got to go Tom Brady because he's the GOAT. You know what I'm saying? Just pick his brain, understand a little bit of this, a little bit of that. On that same line, Peyton Manning, because I think he's just like, that head is big for a reason. This man's football IQ, like, oh my God, man.
What is it to your head, bro?
Oh my God, that thing is chunky, boy. Like, shit.
My head is big as well, but it's not as big as it is now. I mean, that's crazy. And you have, I think you have one person left.
And then last person, I think one of just the most motivational people ever, who I'd love just to sit with is Ray Lewis. Ray Lewis is, man, like all of his speeches. Man, when you listen to his speeches, I could be sitting in my pajamas on the couch and I hear a Ray Lewis speech and I'm helmets on, I'm ready to strap up, get on a football field, lead, like go into war. Like that man is so inspirational. Yeah, I think that'd be my list.
Okay, man, that was a good list, actually. Mine, I think, will be kind of close, but a little bit different. First person that would probably be Kobe Bryant.
Yeah,
I know that's a little bit naive, but Kobe Bryant is just like, the funny thing is I didn't like Kobe Bryant at the beginning, just because I wasn't a big fan of his at first when I was a kid, right? The older I got deep into, when I was playing football with the mindset and everything, I was like, man, I didn't know why I didn't like Kobe when I was younger than I was at this time, right?
Yeah.
And just the mentality that he got, the way that he works and everything, that would just be awesome to have a conversation with him. Second, Jackie Robinson, no doubt. I'm just a big fan of his history. Just like you said.
Copy me, bro. Come on, man.
I'm not copying you. I'm just saying facts. Because Jackie Robinson, his history is just amazing. Like, be the only black guy to play in the league that people doesn't want you to play, and you just keep kicking
that was a
ass.
Big sport, man. Like,
that's crazy. Like, do you imagine a stadium full of 8 directed to you? Like, you feel all the pressure, and you still manage to use that pressure, like to strive on the game and to open doors to so many people in every sport actually, and that's fucking crazy. And the third person would be, I think that's because I watched the podcast before today, and that would probably be Serena Williams, because Serena Williams, there was a discussion on that podcast that was saying who is the greatest athlete ever, right? And there was a woman who just said Serena Williams, and at first I was like, wait, nah, you can say that. But
She's a monster.
in an interesting point, because she's striving since 17 years old and she have 23 big titles. That's a lot. And Serena Williams could do a lot of things that a lot of people cannot do. And first, because she's out there, she doesn't have the respect I think she really deserved, because on that podcast, that person was saying, because she's a black woman, and this person said, if she was a man, black or white, that wouldn't be a question to ask if she was the greatest athlete ever, because like doing this since 17 years old, being a woman, basically she almost died while giving birth, but she still managed to be good at sports. Try to say that to a man to do that. That's something that we could probably not do. So I would like to have this conversation with her, like, how do you manage to get through all this and to be just perfect at what you're doing at sports, right? Because basically every woman or every man who played against her maybe try to beat her, because she's just Serena Williams. That's who she is. And the fourth person there will be, and yet again, I think that's because of the movie, but I really like this person, Coach Carter. You know the movie Coach Carter.
Great movie.
Yeah, like just having this conversation with this guy, how do you manage to be so hard on your players and you think that they will come back and play for you, because you were very, very strict on every level, like on school, on the field, and just to see how did he work through this? How do you make this happen? And the fifth person will probably be Bill Belichick.
Of course.
Patriots fan all the way. I don't care if this year we suck. I mean, actually, the offense sucks, not the defense. But this guy is just a genius, like mind blowing. Because Bill Belichick have a lot of titles. He has many titles. He led a great defense when he was with the Giants. With the Patriots, he managed to create a great team, one of the greatest team probably in sports. It's one of the greatest. And do that with not known coaches, not known players, because no matter what people will say when they're gonna hear this, Tom Brady was a nobody. In college, it was all right. It wasn't like that good, but it was picked at the 6th round, and you work with a guy like this and make him one of the best quarterback of all time. Like, how did you manage to keep your players online? How do you close yourself from the media, because they're making a lot of jokes of you, which is funny, to be honest, but how do you manage to block yourself from this and still be able to have some close relation with some of your players? Because a lot of players, every players that went out of New England doesn't say that Bill Belichick is a bad coach or blah, blah, blah. They talk about the opposite, the team as one, but they never pointed Bill Belichick as a bad coach. Like, they're just saying, like, you don't joke with him. Like, that's like that. He's going to be like this. And if you're not okay with this, you're out. Deuces, bye. So that would be my list.
That's solid. That's a good list.
Yeah, I know. Thank you.
I was waiting for the Patriots to get in there somehow.
It was
Wait.
either Tom Brady or Bill Belichick, but I will go with Bill Belichick first. And if I had the Joker, a +1, that would be Tom Brady. And I get maybe +1. I get Brady and Gronk. I don't care.
Yeah.
Both of them go come together. So that would be good. So Dan, thank you for coming there today for this episode. That was a very good conversation, and I think that was very nice. And the fact that to have someone over there talking about the subject that people here in France, you know, try to know how he's going on the field. I mean, on the field over there.
Yeah.
Coming from someone living there, I think that could still be better than all the things that we have on internet and stuff like that. So
Yeah.
I'm very thankful for coming here today. And I'll see you very, very soon, brother. As soon as this thing is over, I'm coming to Atlanta, Georgia, and we're gonna celebrate, party, having good time like always.
Can't wait, baby. See you soon.
All right, brother. Take care. See you soon.
All right, see ya.